Hi guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So I think we are definitely on the home stretch now with our actual junk journal series. So what we need to do still is we need to do a few more kind of tags or kind of inserts and booklets and things like that. And we also need to cover the back cover. So I have cut the rest of the bag that we used obviously for the front cover. Just for anyone just joining me, I think I have said this before, this was a fake designer bag. This is not a Chanel bag that I am cutting up. So obviously we used this for the front cover, and I just thought, continuity will kind of cover the back in the same. So as you can see, we've got this kind of situation going on here, where obviously the handles were attached or are attached. There's probably some clever way of actually kind of getting them off, but I haven't really kind of looked too closely at them, so I just thought we'll kind of try and snip them off. So if I just kind of lay it here to get a rough idea, so what I can do is kind of snip this along literally like that. And all we're doing is kind of making it a bit more manageable to work with, and obviously then we have a straight edge, or straightish edge to butt it up against. Now I'm just having a look whether there's anything else that we can use here. I mean, we could possibly use these rings somewhere, but nothing's kind of jumping out at me at the moment, so I'm going to probably pop it in the bin. And we're just going to kind of go for this. So if I move these bits and bobs out of the way, these are here ready to do some more booklets and pull-outs and what have you. So we will do those kind of in a moment. Let me just check that I'm filming and in frame. Yup. Okay. So pop these out of the way. Like that. Okay, so probably easiest if I put the straightish edge kind of up against, I'm at risk of gluing it that way down at the moment. Straightish edge kind of here, because obviously we've got that ruffle and it will just kind of make it worse for cutting. So we'll do it like that way, and then we can obviously cut around it kind of here. So I'm just going to glue it on exactly as we glued it on the front cover with the hot glue. Now my hot glue gun is still kind of warming up, so because I haven't had it plugged in for very long. So just while that's warming up, I just wanted to kind of also mention that what I've done literally a few minutes ago was I also cut a strip off the bag, because as you can see, I mean, the bag's in pretty bad state. It's quite old, and this is just kind of perished really and is peeling away. So I just wanted to see how it would kind of react to being Mod Podged and or gessoed or gessoed. I still haven't googled that. So this end here is the Mod Podge, this is the gesso or the gesso. So I'm just leaving this to dry so that we can kind of then see what best works, that we can then kind of coat or seal the covers. So I will leave that kind of to dry. I mean, as you can see, I can kind of bend that up and this is all cracking. Obviously that's because this is still a flexible piece. However, once it's obviously glued onto the hard back cover, it's no longer a flexible piece. So it may be that the Mod Podge will be an adequate cover for it, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to pop that to one side whilst we get gluing. And actually what I will also do is just grab the cover, the front cover, so that then we're ready to treat it, once we know the results of that little experiment. So here's the front cover. I mean, as you can see, some of it's further perished when I obviously kind of popped the crocodile on there to punch the holes. again, that doesn't worry me. This is supposed to be a junky junk journal, so, you know, I kind of quite like that look. But, you know, it's kind of worth bearing in mind when you do some of these things, that things like that do happen. And obviously, if you're looking for a kind of perfect look, then that might not please you. So, yeah, just kind of bear that in mind, I suppose. Right, now hopefully the hot glue has kind of heated up sufficiently now. So I'm just going to kind of pop this on roughly where we want it. So about here. And I'm going to do it in stages exactly as we did with the front cover, where we glue it kind of in little phases and stages, because you know, it's quite a large area to just kind of glue it down kind of completely. So there we go. And I'm going to turn it around and kind of do some more. So I'll just do the next section, and I will kind of glue a bit more around the holes, just for a bit more kind of, you know, reinforcing really. Like that. And unfortunately, I don't think I've got my crocodile to be able to actually punch the holes right now. But, you know, hopefully you guys don't mind that. So there we go. And then next bit. You know, because I mean, hopefully we've kind of all just punched holes before, seen people punch holes before. So, you know, hopefully that's kind of okay to do that kind of without you guys. Right. Pressing it down nicely. And then last bit. Now I'm just going to pop another glue stick in just in case we use a lot of glue here, so that it's kind of got the continuing stream. There we go. Okay, right. Okay, so that's that. And then what we can do is literally cut around the edge. So I'll just move that ruffle out of the way slightly. We just need to be a bit careful that we don't cut that. Oops. You know, and I mean, obviously this really does not have to be, you know, absolutely perfect. We are not looking for a perfect look. You know, I mean, to be fair, when you're making a kind of, I mean, any junk journal, really, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of like it with all its imperfections. And I mean, I feel a bit different about kind of mini albums and things like that, or maybe a scrapbook layout where, you know, I feel like things do need to be very neat and tidy and kind of, you know, verging on perfect. But with the junk journals, I like a little bit of rusticness kind of going on, and you know, it's fun to have a few kind of edges kind of frayed or hanging over, or you know, I think that looks really nice. And you know, I love my covers kind of with like fabric hanging longer at certain bits and things like that. So you know, I really like that. Now I'm just going to literally glue down one or two more corners, just so they're really nice and tight at the corners. That one's okay. That one's okay. Just dab a bit on there. I just really like it to be glued down, you know, well. So, you know, doesn't bother me how it's cut, whether it's a bit kind of jaggedy, but I do like it to be stuck down, you know, if it's supposed to be. Right, so as I say, I haven't got my crocodile, but invariably probably the same thing will happen here as happened here, that when I kind of squeeze my crocodile on, this kind of effect will happen, because obviously this is quite thick to be going through the crocodile. Doesn't worry me, but you know, just kind of something to be aware of. So So that's kind of that. And then what we'll do is we just lightly distressed, and I have got a new applicator for my distress blending tool. So I'll just pop that on. So I think what we did is that we did distress it slightly, kind of, you know, to make it look a little bit more kind of rusticy. So we'll just kind of do that here. Okay. Let me check that I am still filming and in frame. Yep. I'm slightly paranoid. I mean, I don't know what's been going on with my technology, to be honest, but it's very frustrating. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move these out of the way while we do a couple of the tags and things, because this stuff, let's call it, rather than the gesso or the gesso, is not quite dry. So I just want to give that a few more minutes really to kind of, you know, have time to properly see the results. So before we kind of do the treatment, we're just going to, you know, move it out of the way. So I have got a whole bunch of items here that I thought obviously we will start making, you know, some little booklets and things like that. So I've also got that gorgeous green tea bag, what do you call it, packet. So again, just like we did with the purple one, I'm just going to pop a little notelet in there because I just think that worked so well and was just so cute. So just going to pop that in like that. So that's another one that we've got, and then we will crack on and kind of you know, make some little booklets and things. So obviously I have got these huge pages, so I mean they're just kind of lending themselves perfectly as kind of booklets and inserts, aren't they? So I will just literally kind of fold this over, and probably what I need to do, you see, is make this slightly smaller, because obviously if I just fold it over as is, it's actually quite a big booklet. So I'm going to kind of take it as close as I can to the shoes, if you see what I mean. So I'm just going to kind of do it like that, and then I'm just going to cut it down probably about here. And then what we'll do, we'll just, I'm going to trim this little tab off. In fact, I'll trim it across the bottom, just in case we want to use this tab anywhere else. And then what I'll do is just trim it down at the edge, because otherwise this is quite a big kind of booklet for the spaces that we have, because obviously, you know, our little tuck spots and things that we've you know, pockets that we've made and things, you know, they're not ginormous, they're smallish. So, you know, it just needed to be kind of slightly smaller. And then what we'll do, we'll just put a couple of kind of extra pages in. So literally I'll cut this kind of literally here, so we've got a couple of random sized pages there. And then what we'll do is trim it down, and we needed to obviously go slightly smaller because this is kind of what we're using as the cover, so it needed to be smaller so that the pages kind of fit in like that, if that makes sense. So again, we'll just take the stapler and we will just staple these in like this. Oops. I have to have 3 staples because obviously one of those pages is much smaller. So, oops. Oh, a little vintage postage stamp just dropped out from the stapler, which is a bit random there, but never mind. So that's another little pull-out booklet. I'll just fold it down. I don't think I've got my bone folder thing. So there we go. And then, you know, you can just obviously do the corners if you want. Just makes it look a little bit more finished, if you like. And then we'll just do the corners on this side as well. Oops. Like that. I have to do them separately because they weren't quite lined up. So there we go, 1 and 2. So that's a cute little booklet there. You know, super simple, but obviously you've got then little journaling pages in here, you know, which just kind of all adds to your space for journaling. I mean, obviously, as I say, I have been uploading these videos, or sorry, trying to film ahead so that I've got videos ready to upload. What's the word? So that I can upload them very frequently, because I'm aware that obviously, you know, when I have done some other series, particularly my Gypsy Rose one, it did kind of drag on because obviously I hadn't planned it particularly well. So this one I have tried to do, again, I'm just going to cut this off. This one I have tried to do the videos very condensed and have them ready to upload. So, you know, this I'm filming, even though I've uploaded, say, I think I'm up to about number 6 I've uploaded now. And this, I think, is about episode 13. So, you know, kind of, that's like 13 hours that I have filmed for, but you've only seen kind of 6 hours, approximately. So, and what I'll do here is just kind of cut here. Sorry, where was I going with that? Yes. So I did notice one of the comments, and somebody said, you know, but what room are you going to have for journaling? So, you know, I did respond and kind of said, you know, I'm hoping that obviously the plain pages that we've now put in, which, you know, as I've uploaded these, you wouldn't have necessarily seen those yet, if that makes sense. That hopefully they will provide you your journaling space and obviously the tags and what have you that we're making now. So that's kind of how I'm hoping it will go. Obviously there's no guarantees it's going to turn out quite like that. Now I've also got this one, so what I will do is probably just cut straight along there as well. Now this has already been folded. I don't know whether that was since doing this series, but I'll just fold it in here. I'm just chatting away really, but yeah, I mean the plan is hopefully that we're just going to have lots of pull-out tags and booklets, and obviously with the plain pages, you know, that aren't the decorative pages, if that makes sense, that's where your journaling space comes in. I mean, you know, I really like journals that have lots of decorative elements and all the decorative pages and, you know, things like that. But obviously I realised that that's not really providing a lot of journaling space. So that's why we have the plain, or that's why I like to put in the plain pages, because that's where your journaling space does come in. So, you know, hopefully you can kind of see that coming together a bit now. So although we've got lots and lots of decorative elements, we now are also having some little journaling bits as well, which kind of all obviously then works together to form, you know, a kind of usable journal, if that makes sense. You know, usable and interactive and pretty and, you know, interesting to look at journal, because, you know, I don't know about you, but I don't think there's much point making one that doesn't look gorgeous. You know, because you might as well just go and buy a notepad from, you know, from the shops. So it's nice to have all the special bits, but you know, equally you do need to have some bits to write as well. So, you know, I'm hoping that kind of by doing it this way, you get the best of both worlds, because, you know, the creator gets the pleasure of kind of creating, you know, the user gets the pleasure of admiring or looking through and interacting with the pretty elements, and then also has kind of lots of pull out little booklets like this to kind of use, and also with the plain pages, they obviously have kind of lots of journaling space as well. So, you know, that's kind of how I kind of like to do journals anyway. And I'm not by any means trying to say that that's the only way or that that's the right way. That just works for me, you know, because I think then you kind of get the best of everything. So hopefully you guys kind of can see slightly where I'm going with that. So here we're just literally using these little bits and making a little kind of flip pad, just because obviously, you know, it's a waste to not use all of our little scraps. And obviously these make very cute little pads. So, you know, it's kind of great to not waste things. And also it gives a bit more kind of journaling space as well. So I've just literally stapled that across the top, and then what we can do is finish that off really nicely with kind of a bit of lace at the top there. So if I just bring the ink back, we'll just ink this up, because, you know, we have generally kind of inked this wherever we've used it. Whoops. Wherever we've used it in here. So just for a bit of kind of continuity, really. And we can just pop that, oops, you know, across the top there. Just ink it up a bit further. And I'll just use the hot glue for this, just because obviously for speed. Oops. There we go. I'll just trim that off there. Oops, now my scissors are glued on. Right. So, you know, that's that one. And actually, I didn't decorate these at all, so we'll just pop a bit of lace or something on these as well. I just totally forgot, because I was just busy rambling on, really. But yes, of course, I had meant to decorate these as well. So this is that same old lace, and what we have been doing is obviously trimming it down the kind of centre, so it's not a double edged piece of lace anymore, if that makes sense. Oops. Oh, come on. Sometimes these things just get the better of me, and they just are too fiddly. Okay. So we'll just have that kind of running down the side, I think. So just ink that up. Actually, while I'm here, I just want to say I saw the most gorgeous idea and just beautiful video. It's now I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but it's Hummingbird Tales by, and her name is Tina. I'm not sure whether it's Tina Latty or Tina Latty, or maybe something else entirely. I think it is Latty. But Hummingbird Tales, I will try and remember to link her below, because she's got a lovely channel. She does beautiful things. But the one that I just literally watched was, she had, I think she called them notes in a tote, note in a tote. She hasn't completed them yet for sale. She's only done one, I think, and is kind of halfway through another one. But they were so pretty that I just wanted to mention. because they just looked so gorgeous. So if you haven't kind of ever checked out her work, it's really worth stopping by at her channel, because, oops, actually we could just put a bit of lace on here, couldn't we? She does the most gorgeous, 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 oh, I love that. Gorgeous, gorgeous things. And in particular, these notes in a tote, she had made these little bags with, I think she said that they were from wallpaper, but she'd done a lot of fancy collaging with lace and sari silk and, you know, various different things. Oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. She'd used a kit by Artie Mays, although I'm not sure whether she necessarily had actually for the notes in a tote, but oh, doesn't that look cute? She just made them look so stunning, and yeah, when I get a chance I'm going to have a go at making one, because they looked so pretty. So if you haven't checked her out, it's really worth checking out her channel, because she has got absolutely beautiful things and just gorgeous. Yeah, I mean, those in particular are just so pretty. So check it out, because you know, really gorgeous things. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of mention that before I forgot. Oops. And then actually also I just want to say a massive thank you, because I mean, I've really enjoyed doing this series. It has been a little bit kind of yikes, you know, have I bitten off more than I could chew a couple of times, you know, and it has taken me way out of my comfort zone, but touch wood, I have really enjoyed it. And you know, I mean, the actual journal itself, I didn't obviously know how it was going to turn out, because I didn't even know what other supplies I was going to kind of be able to find laying around, but I love how it's turning out, and hopefully you guys too do too. But I've had such lovely fun comments, and yeah, thank you so much, like, to everybody who's watched, who's subscribed, isn't that cute, you know, and who's kind of been supporting my channel, because, you know, obviously sometimes you kind of embark on these things and you just think, oh gosh, you know, is anyone going to be interested in this? You know, is it worth it? Is anyone going to watch? And you guys have just made it so worthwhile. So I just wanted to say a massive thank you really to everybody who has been so encouraging and, you know, supportive and what have you, because you know, it really has meant such a lot to me. So thank you very much. You know, yeah, I really appreciate kind of all your lovely comments and all your, you know, all your support and things. So yeah, and I do know that a few people have said that they are making an actual junk journal along with me. So, you know, again, I would really love to see kind of the finished articles and things. So I think I said before, I mean, I'm not 100% sure how you would contact someone through YouTube, or whether you even can. So, you know, if there's not a way, which, you know, even if there is a way, as I don't appear to know how I would access it, it's probably not worth doing. So if, what I mean is, I don't mean it's not worth doing because if I don't know it, nobody would. What I meant was, if I don't know how to access it, even if you do know how to send it, there's no point sending it to me, because I wouldn't know how to see it, if that makes sense. But I would love to see kind of your finished journals. So probably the best way to contact me is email me via my, and there's just another little pad, email me via my Etsy shop. You know, because I would absolutely love to see what you guys have come up with. It really, yeah, is very exciting, and I would love to see what beautiful kind of lovely things that you guys have made. So, you know, if you have got time or inclination, I would really love to see kind of your finished articles. So, you know, drop me a kind of email at my shop and show me kind of what you've what you've come up with. I would love to see it. So yeah, if you kind of fancy doing that, it would be very welcomed. Right, I'm having a rummage back through just to see if I've got any more of these little notelets, and I have. So again, I'm just going to kind of staple these together as a little pad. And actually what I will do is kind of staple some fabric across the top, just so it's a little bit more interesting. So I might as well staple that at the same time as stapling the pad, if you see what I mean. So we don't have such a run of staples. So there we go. Just snip this piece off. So, you know, we're just making kind of a whole bunch of just little pads and pullouts and things like that for kind of extra journaling space. So, you know, it all kind of mounts up. So hopefully you guys can kind of see that, you know, occurring. I also hadn't used this card yet. Love this card, and obviously I hadn't been able to bring myself to use it, I assume. So, and also I couldn't think how to use it because I didn't want to lose this gorgeous image, didn't really want to lose these ones. So what I decided is actually, if I cut it here, now obviously you have got two Tina there, you know, so that's a bit of a shame, but you know, that could easily be kind of covered up. And what I thought we'd do is have it as a kind of opening little kind of flip like that. Or I guess we could have it as a couple of tags, actually. Might be nicer. Let's do that. Let's have a couple of tags. So I'm just going to cut that along there. And then this one, I'll just do the same and cut it along here. Or, you know, journaling cards anyway. That. Oops. Pop those bits out of the way. So what we can do is obviously just trim that down like that. Just trim that on the side. So, you know, we could just have a kind of little journaling card like that. So what we'll do, we'll round the corners. And then just going through my stash again of kind of items that I had stamped ready to use for this journal. So we could have something that we have stamped, and that would cover up that writing that had been on the card anyway, which would be, you know, kind of a double you know, double bonus, because obviously not only is it going to look pretty, but it will cover up the thing that we wanted to cover up. And actually I've just spotted another little tea bag, so we can obviously use that. So here we've got kind of this. I'll just tear that down. So it could kind of have it something like that. And then I was looking through my stash for a little butterfly, which I'm sure I saw some literally a couple of minutes ago. Here we go. So we can just cut out one of these. So again, I'm just going to have to take this out of the glare of the lamp, because otherwise it's causing such huge shadows, you know, that I can't actually see to cut it out. So I'm still causing shadows over here, but not quite as bad as when I'm in the full glare of the lamp. Yeah, so if you have been making your own, you know, junk journals, I hope that you've been having kind of fun. I did also get somebody ask, why wasn't I really using junk mail? And weirdly enough, I mean, there was obviously a time a few years ago where you got nothing but junk journal and, you know, it drove you potty. But actually, I don't know about you guys, we don't actually get an awful lot of junk mail anymore. And I'm not complaining about that. That's wonderful. But so I actually don't have an awful lot of junk mail through the post to be able to use, really. I'm just going to do a kind of cluster up here of kind of little items, I think. So, yeah, we don't get an awful lot of junk mail anymore. So that's kind of one of the reasons. And I mean, obviously, you know, secondly, I just had all these gorgeous things kind of laying around in drawers and, you know, what have you. And therefore thought, you know, why not use kind of all these lovely things, you know, that I've had laying around, you know, birthday cards, these little tea bag. I mean, they actually were the tea bags, because as I say, I haven't actually had the tea because I don't really like the herbal tea very much. But yeah, so, you know, it's kind of both. I don't really particularly get an awful lot of junk mail these days. I mean, actually, you know, there's often maybe 3 days will pass where I don't even get any post at all, because everything is kind of paperless now, isn't it? So, you know, I mean, thankfully, there's kind of many times where actually kind of no mail comes through, which is fantastic, isn't it? Although, yeah, probably would have been quite handy to have had some at this point, but okay. But yeah, that's predominantly the reason why I've not been using junk mail. Although, having said that, and I did say in my comments, unlike my email, which, you know, is a nightmare, and actually I now kind of come to the point where I barely can be bothered to go onto it. Obviously, I go onto my Etsy shop and check my messages there, and kind of, you know, things that are important, if you see what I mean, tend to have their own way of communicating with you. So, you know, actual email per se, I try and avoid it because it's so clogged up with stuff. You know, as soon as you buy something, they've given your email address to, you know, all sorts of other people, and it just is so clogged up all the time that really it's become a bit of a nightmare to actually go into my email. So, yeah. Hence, obviously, you know, it's probably best to contact me via my Etsy shop, because obviously my actual email is just so clogged full of rubbish that, you know, things can get missed. And the other thing is sometimes things just go into bulk mail and then I'm not even necessarily aware that I've had something, and that's happened lots of times with quite important things, actually. For some reason, often messages from the school, their system, that often seems to go into junk mail, and that's very frustrating. Just checking that I'm in frame and filming. Yeah, that's obviously very frustrating. So, you know, I don't know how it quite deciphers what's junk, what's not, but it's often not done in the most helpful way. So, yeah, just kind of, let's pop that along the bottom. Yeah, so anyway, my email has taken over from my physical mail that used to be a nightmare. You know, and you'd kind of think, oh gosh, look at all that I've got to sift through now. That's now the state of email. And I'm sure I'm not alone. I'm sure most of you probably find the same thing. So now in shops and things, you know, when they say, and have you got an email address? I just say no. I have got one, but, you know, it's so full of junk. You know, I don't really want to kind of give my email address anymore. So, and, you know, I think kind of they get that because I think most people's email now is the same. So actually what we could do is kind of finish it off up here. with kind of just a little bit along the top, or kind of hanging down the side, which looks nicer. Down the side, I think. So just going to wet glue this one on. Like that. Okay, so that's another little tag. So now we've obviously found this gorgeous one, and again I just happened to spot another one of those notes things that I obviously missed when I made that little kind of cute pad. So I'm just going to fold this over and pop this one in here. And this was my last one of these, but wow, haven't they been cute? So I might just pop a bit of fabric across the top of there like we did on the other one, because it looked so cute. Looks sweet, doesn't it? So I'll just pop that bit across there, like that, and just cut that off. And I'll just cut that one kind of squared off as well. So that's another one. So then we've got obviously this one here. So let me just, oops. Again, we're just rounding the corners. Now I wonder if we could have some lace along the bottom of here, or along the top. Maybe along the top. So again, just move the stuff out of the way. And we're just distressing this. I mean, I don't know as it's making an awful lot of difference, to be honest, when we distress ink this, but it just kind of stops it looking quite so glary. So, not glary, sorry, bright, you know, quite so in your face kind of with its bright appearance. So there we go. I mean, that just looks gorgeous like that, you know, dead simple, but really pretty. I'm just going to ink it up slightly. Oops. Like that. There we go. So, I mean, I think that's gorgeous, just literally kind of as it is. And then I have got some more of the brown paper bag. So we'll just pull that back in, and I thought we'll make a little booklet from the brown paper bag. So I'm just going to cut, just trying to work out which is the best way to cut it. I think along here. Just cut it here. This is my son's paper bag from our shopping day that we had a few weeks or months ago now, and he bought some Levi's from the Levi's shop at the outlets. So we've had an upgrade from Primark, which was obviously my bag, to his bag, which was from the Levi's shop. So right, I'm just going to fold that over here. Now, unfortunately, it has got this kind of bit at the bottom that's making it very, very thick, which I was hoping that we might be able to tear off, but it doesn't really seem to want to come off particularly well. So we might have to chop it down and have that as quite a small kind of folding booklet. So in that case, what we'll do is we'll make it a kind of more of a trifold. So I'm going to just cut this slightly straighter, like that, and then I'm just going to kind of fold it again kind of over here like that, and then just cut it down here, put that bit in the bin because that was just all quite thick chunky bag paper. So we'll just check that that looks quite squarish. Yeah, okay. And then what we do is get rid of obviously that chunky bit at the bottom, which was not wanting to slim down at all, like that. And then we'll just trim it across the top, because otherwise that's quite uneven. There we go. Okay. So I will just kind of move this down like this. And then what we've got that postage stamp from the wallpaper still that we haven't used. So let me grab my stamps here. So I'm just going to go with what we have been using kind of so far, just for a bit of continuity here. And I will just ink it with the brown. Like that. Okay. And then what we'll do is back that onto probably some of this skirt again. So just cut a piece of the skirt, just big enough for the, you know, for that item. Like that. So I'm just going to glue this down onto the fabric. Oops. Just like that. And again, kind of, you know, I just need to now kind of leave that for a couple of minutes. Obviously it won't dry, but just to kind of glue onto there a little bit better. So I'll just kind of weigh that down slightly. Let me check I'm filming in the frame. Now I thought that we were going to get through the whole of the journal and finish it today, but I've just glanced up, you know, to check that I was filming. And we are actually up to 43 minutes already. So we might not quite manage to do the journal completely. So, well, we'll see. I mean, to be fair, you know, I have really only got to kind of either Mod Podge or gesso the covers, you know, which maybe kind of I could just do that kind of more myself, and then obviously kind of bind it together, which when I say that I just mean literally kind of hooking it onto rings, you know, the book rings, and you know, just selecting what order everything's going to go into. If I can find some more kind of paper bag, I might put a bit more paper bag in for some more plain pages. Or what I could do is use some of the wallpaper, because I've still got quite a bit of that wallpaper sample left, and might just cut a bit of that and pop that in kind of to size as some plain pages. But I'm aware that obviously people had said they would like to see the whole of the process. So I may have to kind of, you know, I want to kind of obviously honour what I agreed to. So here we go. And then we'll just cut around it a little bit. Like that. So I'm just going to hot glue this. That just is then nice and quick. And just hot glue that like that. And then we could do is have a bit of ruffle kind of stapled down the edge. I'm just wondering whether we want to use this, or I have this kind of little scrap here that we could use. Actually, I just think this up a little bit. Yeah, I think what I'll have to do is kind of just face it that this is going to go into another video, unfortunately, but it may not be an hour-long video, because otherwise I will be trying to rush this to get it finished in this particular video, and then that's not really kind of, you know, that helpful, because I might end up kind of, you know, well, we'll see kind of how things go. Here we go. I might do a bit of a count up in a moment of how many items that we actually have got, because you know, it might be that we actually are nearly there anyway. Oh, I love how this looks. It looks really pretty. So in fact, it might not even need the ruffle at all, because I just, when I put it off to the side of the desk, it looked gorgeous. Oh, well, more is always more, isn't it? So I'll just pop the ruffle on. Let me just staple that down here. Oops, now stapled that in at the back. See, this is what I'm talking about, because then I start rushing, and that's when mistakes happen. Okay. I have loved the look of the staples throughout this journal. I don't know about you guys. You know, I mean, it started out really because I didn't obviously have my sewing machine here, you know, for this series or anything. But actually, I love the look. They just really suit the theme of the journal. Now, we could leave this long, but I'm going to trim it slightly because it was kind of a bit too long. There we go. Yeah, I really love the look of the staples. I think they look really, really pretty. And actually, I have to say, I really love how this little booklet's turned out. So I might have to do another one. So again, I'll just bring that Levi bag back in. We'll just cut another section. One side, and I mean, again, obviously it's got that great big seam kind of running along there, so I'm just going to cut it along. Okay, so I'll just move this out of the way, and then, right, let's this edge so it's a bit straighter. And we'll just fold it once and again. I love these kind of like dry fold pull out things. I mean, actually I love them glued onto the page as well. I think they're really nice. So I'll just cut that down like that. Actually, I think it looks fine like that. And then we'll just literally, again, go round the corners. And then what we could do in this one is we could actually add a little pad inside it. So we'll do that in here. Minute. Okay. It's probably that way round. Right. So again on here, we will just stamp it exactly the same using the brown. We'll just ink it up a little bit with the pink. I like that because it just adds a little bit of colour to this kind of, you know, paper bag, brown bag colour, which I do really like, but it just looks even prettier when it's got just that subtle kind of edge of the pink, if you know what I mean. You know, that just kind of transforms it and just lifts it slightly, which I just think looks gorgeous then. There we go. There we go. Right. So that corner's not really rounded, so okay. Pop these out of the way, and then we'll just find something cute to kind of pop on the front of here. So let's just have a look through, or I've got these green shoes that we haven't used these on here, so I might just pop them. Just deciding whether to tear them or cut them. I'll cut them for the moment. And what we'll do, we'll just rough them up a little bit around the edge with the scissors. Going to distress ink that slightly. Like that. And then what we'll do is we will layer that, or back that, onto a little piece of this, I think. So I might have to go a little bit darker with this paper. I have it this way round actually, so I just glue that on. Like that, and then just while that's drying to the side, we will kind of make a little pad from this booklet. So I'm just going to kind of weigh it down a little bit there. And then what we'll do is we'll just take a couple of these shopping list pages, and actually in fact we could use some of this now as well. And what we'll do is literally kind of chop down some pages as if it were a little flip pad. So that's a couple. And then we'll have a couple of these shopping list pages in there as well. So there we go. Right. So we just kind of glue them like that. Might have the little bag one on the front. Now, obviously that's a little bit long, so we just want to decide. I quite like sometimes just tearing the bottom off, but obviously I need to be aware that some of these have got little things on them, if you see what I mean. So I'm just going to tear that there, and then we'll cut that down so it's a better size for in here. So that's that one. This one I rather like the torn off bit, so what we'll do is we'll just tear this across the bottom like that. Then this one, obviously this is quite a boring looking one, so I think we'll have it like that way up with the green across the top. Not that you will see the green, to be fair, once it's kind of stapled in anyway. And then this, obviously, I love the shoes. So what we do, we just very carefully tear across, trying to avoid tearing the shoes, but trying to keep a little tiny bit of the pink on there. There we go. And then we'll just cut that just across here, like that. So get that rubbish out of the way. And then what we'll do is literally staple them together, which, do we want this one here? No, let's have it like this. Right, so we're just going to staple these together. So 1, 2, 3. Check that they're kind of the right sort of size for the little piece here. And we're just going to glue that in like that. So I'm just going to trim it slightly more across the top. Okay, and then we're going to just hot glue this like that. So you see, then you've got obviously your journaling space here, this whole little pad, more underneath and more here. And obviously these pages as well. So obviously not the cover, because we are going to pop this onto the cover, but not the other one. So we just cut that there, and then we'll just tear it. Glue this on the hot glue. Like that. There you go. And then what we'll do is we'll just finish this off with a little bit of lace trim across the top there. So right, I just need to ink that kind of along to basically where we just happen to have cut for that split, funny enough. So like this. Just trim it like that so that I could get to it. I'll just pop this on here. I probably inked the wrong side there. You know, if there is a right and a wrong side. So never mind. Right. There we go. And then that shuts like that. And then what we do is just possibly have a little bit of lace kind of running down the edge. Just finishing that off, or maybe on the edge of the shoes. Again, decisions, you know, which is best. So hold on. So actually I quite like it just on the shoes, funnily enough. I didn't think I would, but actually it looks really cute. And actually I think I've inked that on the wrong side again. No, maybe not. Yeah, maybe I have. Right, let's just ink it there. Okay. And then we're going to just get that, and then we're just going to pop that down here. Just cut that off. Just trim it down slightly. I mean, again, it doesn't have to be perfect, you know, but we're just going to kind of glue that on just along here. So go. Just kind of adds a splash of colour to that little booklet then. So that's kind of all of our little inserts probably for today, because I'm just having a look now and we're up to 1 hour 5 minutes. So I'll have to kind of probably leave that there for today, and then hopefully we're just going to have a kind of short one next time. So thanks very much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.